Hello everyone, welcome back to Flying Solo with Kat, and I just finished watching episode 9 and 10 of MaulShadow Lord, and I just have now stopped sobbing. So, figured now would be a good time to legitimately record, so you can already tell where this episode is gonna go, because we have much to talk about. In all seriousness, though, sorry for the late update. I have been super busy. Not only did the last two episodes of the series release on May the 4th, which y'all know I was super busy, but I also had a lot of work stuff that I had to do in the week of May 4th. So, of course, did not have time to record. Also, I am now streaming on Twitch and doing art on Twitch. So if you want to come say hi, I am FlyingSolo on Twitch. I'll link it down below if you are interested. And yeah, so I've been doing that. My schedule is Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 12:30 to 2 p.m. Stop by and say hi. I would love to chat some Star Wars with y'all and do all of that. So thank you, everyone. Like, I have the opportunity to do this. It's super exciting. And at the same time, I get to show my art to all these people. So, but let's go ahead and get into these last two episodes. Episode 10 will probably take a little bit more. I don't know. I'm going to try not to cry this episode, but y'all, I was sobbing. I haven't had to where I was sobbing probably since Obi-Wan Kenobi, in that series, in that finale. And this series is probably one of my favorite Star Wars TV shows. And I'm not even just saying that because it's new. It made me feel things, and everything was written beautifully, as well as the art that always kind of draws me in. Um, this is on the same par of Ahsoka. Ahsoka is my favorite uh, TV series, I guess I should say, and one of my favorite Star Wars properties. Maul is up there with Ahsoka. They are on the same par for me. I think I like Maul a little bit more, at least right now. I'd have to sit with it, but goddamn. Goddamn. I almost have no words for what this series did. I am shocked. I'm glad that everyone liked it. I think I got 94 on Rotten Tomatoes. You know, I don't like the percentages and stuff, and Rotten Tomatoes is rotten mainly, because it all gets botted and whatever the hell. So it really isn't an accurate representation. But when scores are high, I do like to take those, and you know, we take the win for Star Wars, and I really think that this was a masterclass of storytelling. Chapter 9, Strange Allies. Dryden Voss's voice, I think that was kind of a hot topic that I saw people talking about for a little bit. It's not bad. You get used to it. I understand that they couldn't get Paul Bettany, which really sucks, because I feel like that could have taken the kind of extra step with it, and he's done voice acting before. I just think it probably was scheduling issues and all of that. It's not as bad as people were saying, but it is noticeable, and I think they're kind of banking on people not watching Solo and then seeing this Dryden Voss. So I'm a little disappointed they didn't kind of like take the extra step to really get that voice down, but it's not a big deal for me. People were saying it really took him out of it. It doesn't for me. I just look at the character model and not really focus on the voice mainly. Um, Boss Rentario. So that's who the leader of Crimson Dawn is now. And basically, Dryden Voss is like, yo, Maul, I will get you out as long as you kill the boss, so I can become the leader of Crimson Dawn, which then sets up for Solo to where Dryden Voss at this point would probably only be in power for like 5 to 7 years. And then Kira's going to come in, and I think Maul is basically going to find that, you know, probably Dryden Voss is going behind his back, kind of not doing what he exactly wants him to, and which is why kind of Maul puts Kira to the forefront and kind of then betrays Dryden. So I do think that's very interesting, knowing kind of what happens coming up for Dryden Voss, and I found that really interesting. So we have our way out, of course. Maul speaking through Devon through the Force, I think was really interesting, kind of like giving her a Force vision and dream. I think it kind of sets up like, Maul has to reach her somehow with Docky, Lawson, and Riley, so, and Two Boots. So I found like the kind of force vision thing, like, and immediately lost in clocking it, like it could be a trap, but then Devin really being like, no, this seems like legit. So I love it. I loved these two groups teaming up. You have these two groups at constant war with each other over the 8 episodes that we've seen. And finally, they legitimately have to work together for a common evil. It's not like, oh, I guess we'll work together. It really makes sense for the story because truly the Empire is your worst enemy at this point. So for me, it makes sense with the story. It's not just like, oh, whatever, Devin just kind of wants to go with him to move the story along. And that's something I loved about the series is nothing felt like it was moving the story along. Everything felt like it was natural, it had a purpose, and it was happening for a reason, which I find in these limited series, that's hard. That is really, really hard to execute and get done correctly. Because again, the whole basis for a show, a movie, any entertainment property is you have to do things to keep the story moving forward. If no one did anything, there would be no movie. There's a quote from BoJack Horseman, which you all probably know, is, if life was I'm paraphrasing, but if life was perfect or whatnot, or if there was no conflict, there would be no show. There would be no movie. And I always think about that line. Again, I'm paraphrasing. Y'all know which one I'm probably talking about, but things have to happen so the story can continue. But there's ways of doing it so it doesn't seem like you're forcing the characters into these situations that feel forced and feel like, okay, I get it, we have to now go here so we can get these characters to, place B or place C. With this, it felt so natural. Like if I was in Lawson's place or if I was in Devin's place, every action and every interaction feels purposeful and feels very natural, which is great. I mean, there are only a handful of TV shows that really make it feel like that. And I'd say very, very rarely a Star Wars show really does that. I feel like Andor is a good example of ones where, of course they have to keep the story moving forward, but I feel like with the smart dialogue, it really works to its advantage. Comparing that with, I love Book of Boba Fett. Y'all know I'm a Book of Boba Fett fan. But that show, it feels like there's a lot of characters that are doing things just to progress the story and not really taking its time. It's kind of like, okay, we have to have that big battle at the end. So, like, let's really kind of bring these characters together. Again, not to hate on any of the shows. You all know I love all of the TV shows. But this show, it really felt like they were taking care and making every character count, which is why I was sobbing. Two Boots calling Maul untrustworthy. Like, Two Boots was such a queen in these 2 episodes. He has redeemed himself, which is great. I love when Star Wars characters do that. But truly, like, the stance that he took, how he helped Lawson, how he helped Riley in the last episode was truly great, and I felt good. And Two Boots interacting with Vario, it was great. And again, not too much, because Two Boots is kind of like a funny character and stuff, but these last 2 episodes were really emotionally charged. So him and Vario are kind of the most funny of the show. So I felt like their kind of lessened lines and stuff made sense and was good, because it is a serious type of thing, but it felt like a good balance. The entire time, you have Docky and you have Maul, and then you have Devin in the middle, and it's very much a push and pull of what they're trying to teach her. Docky says they need patience. Maul literally says the opposite right after there, and they both say it to Devin. So you're getting these 2 conflicting, ideals, really, and I think it's great. And you kind of get that throughout the episode, and it's really interesting of how they approach combat. And I'll definitely get more into that in chapter 10, because that's really an entire action-packed, finale. But with chapter 9, you start to see the cracks of, like, Devin, even with Docky right there, being like, no, this dude really does have a point, and stuff. And again, I think Star Wars does this great thing of when you are on hard times, when you are going through a conflict, it is so easy to turn to the dark side. one of the easiest things to do. And that was basically what George Lucas wrote back in OT. So having this type ideal teeter-totter of, you know, with Devin, you know, and her really not knowing who to listen to right now because of just where they're at and the conflict that they're in is so good. It is so good, and it feels really natural, and especially in chapter 10 of, you know, again, spoilers, her turn, it feels authentic and natural. It doesn't feel like she just did it for no reason. And in the payoff works for this. Did we have to wait 10 episodes? Yes, but I think that only added to the devastation of her character and where we see her now. Maul saying that he needs Daki, especially when Rook asks, like, what about the old man? And Maul almost, like, shows him respect in an odd way. He's like, that is a Jedi Master. Like, Rook, what are you talking about? And I love that. It kind of makes his betrayal in chapter 10 devastating, or even more devastating. And again, we will talk about that because there's a lot to discuss, but it does seem genuinely that Maul respects Daki's ideals. Does he agree with them? Absolutely not. Does he think that Daki needs to let go and kind of be more aggressive and do all of that? Absolutely. But I do think that Maul always respected the Jedi, legitimately. Even if Sidious told him not to. I think he always had a respect for the Order, but he saw that it was flawed. And he saw that you can legitimately have more power if you do this. I understand why you do this and, you know, why you do that for your ideals. But at the same time, you know, how I do it is better. But he goes about it in a way that's very non-egotistical, I guess, in a way. It's really interesting, which it's why I think Maul is such an interesting character and really shined in these last 2 episodes. Like, I think the start of the series, I was like, okay, like, I'm really more invested in Daki, Devin, Lawson, Two Boots. Wasn't really big on Maul, even Rook, you know, and Vario. I was like, okay, I'm here. I think slowly, I think my turn was chapter 8? 7 or 8, wherever he is in the cave and we get to see the flashbacks, is really where I'm like, okay, this is a Maul show. I'm getting Maul character development. This is a good character. And again, it took a bit. And it's natural, right? Maul is not immediately going to start crying that first episode and being like, oh, woe is me. He's built himself back up, and he has to get torn down again to build himself even stronger. So good. So good. And again, that parallels the Phantom Menace with him getting his legs cut off, to then the Clone Wars with the spider legs, and then going to the Great Mother, getting him kind of his mind set back somewhat straight, battling Palpatine, getting torn down through that, coming back up in MaulShadow Lord, getting torn down through that, going to Ezra, then, you know, battling Obi-Wan and eventually dying. It is such a good progression of a character, you know, so when you really look at it from a wide lens. I really liked that Riley and Lawson got to talk kind of when they were crossing the bay. I think they needed that. You know, and it, again, I loved the relationship of, like, Daki and Devin and Lawson and Riley. It was such a cool way, like, just the dads protecting their kids, which, again, you know, that is legitimately one of my favorite tropes. I can eat it up all day. Mandalorian, I'm looking at you. But at the same time, you know, like, Riley even says, like, this is the most time we've ever spent together and the most fun I've ever had, even though they were getting shot at and stuff. And I think Lawson recognizes that and realizes that, and I'm happy that they had to have this time together, because we will talk about what happens in chapter 10. Spybot dies. What the hell? What the hell? It is the first death of many deaths that I do not agree with, but Spybot? Are we serious? My little Spybot boy? I swear to God, Maul, you better rebuild him, and it better be the same Spybot. Like, I was so happy, too, with how they handled Spybot's death, because, of course, freaking Murrock goes and throws the lightsaber and kills him, and Maul legitimately, like, feel sadness. You know, like you can see the sadness in his eyes and not just like, oh, whatever, it's another droid. Like, Maul legitimately cared about Spybot, which is why it's even more devastating. I'm like, dude, you just killed that man's emotional support animal. Like, what is happening? And yeah, and him like calling out Master and then falling into, I was dead. I was like, okay, cool. We're starting here now. Awesome. His brother dies. Are we joking? That was devastating. That man took like 80 bullets to the torso and still brought down like 3 stormtroopers with him. Like, what a man. What a man. I'm just like, Maul, I'm so sorry. Rook is so dead. I'm devastated. I knew. You have your characters go into this like forest jungle. It's all foggy. Rook is like, yeah, I'm gonna go scout out and see where the rendezvous point is with the other Mandalorian. And then I hear screams. And I'm like, yeah, guys, no. I'm sorry. I think that was the only part where I'm like, Rook, use your head, stick together, stick with the Sith and the Jedi, because they will protect you the most. I was devastated. Rook, my wife, my girl, you were the best. You were the best of us, and I am sorry of what happened to you. Technically, we don't see her die, but she screams in agony and pain, and then we see the man. Let me talk about the Inquisitors, and then we'll talk about Vader, at least in Chapter 9, and then I will talk about them more on this. Marok and the Crow are boyfriends because I said so. Also, the fandom has been shipping them a lot. It is really funny because I never really thought about it until seeing that in every, like, even the Ahsoka series, as well as there's a comic, and then I think there was an episode of Tales of, was it the Underworld? No, it wasn't the Underworld. Whatever one had, I'm gonna blank on the name. Barriss Offee. Was it Barriss? I don't think it was Barriss. Y'all know which Jedi I'm talking about. Anyway, they showed up together too, and I'm like, oh, they are kind of boyfriends, and I kind of love that. And just them chasing Maul and the gang, like, all over the city, just to get them to where Vader wants them. Like, okay, I get it. Pop off. I ended up hating them after the last episode. Again, I will go into why, but yeah, they were kind of funny. Just Marok's little look at the trooper, you know, and stuff, kind of taunting him. So good. So good. It gives so much character. I think Marok was the only one to speak in this episode of the Inquisitors and Vader, which is good. I think with these characters of the Inquisitors, you can do a really cool thing, mainly in animation. They've tried it in live action. I don't think it hits as well, but in animation, they're terrifying. I'm terrified. And they don't speak at all. They don't need to go up to the stormtrooper and be like, you let them go, you idiot. No, it is this subtle movement of how they hold their presence and visualizing that instead of, you know, it's show don't tell, right? Which is one of my favorite things. So good. So good. Again, I hate these Inquisitors after last episode, but they looked clean, you know, and they are in love together. So anyway, I had to throw that in because I've been seeing a lot of fan art and I love it. Keep it coming because I just want to see more of it. I literally got chills with the breathing. I knew it was coming. So I was, of course, at Star Wars Night on May the 4th. And I had a little bit of a lull in between, I think, wait times. We ended up waiting. I will go into all the May the 4th stuff for Star Wars Night. I'm not even going to spoil that, but we waited a long time for something. And while we were in line, someone said, oh my god, I can't believe Vader, blah, blah, blah. And I kind of figured they were talking about the MaulShadow, because, of course, it releases in the morning on May 4th, and this was 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then I ended up going on Twitter accidentally, mainly because I want to see some Star Wars moots if they were at Star Wars Night. And the first post I see is the new image of Vader in MaulShadow Lord, which is crazy. It was less than 8 hours or sorry, less than 12 hours since the, finale released and people were posting photos. So my bad for going on social media. I knew it was coming, so I wasn't too disappointed that I got it spoiled and stuff. I don't blame anyone for that, especially when they're talking. It's a Star Wars night. You're going to talk about Star Wars and the new stuff. I know with during Celebration, when Obi-Wan Kenobi actually came out that night of the first day of Celebration, everyone the next day was talking about it. Everyone. You could not escape the Obi-Wan Kenobi talk. If you did not see the episode, you were getting it spoiled. Young Leia was in it, and that was kind of like the first thing. So with these types of things, I think people are just so hyped that they want everyone to know and everyone to talk about it immediately when it happens. So I can't hate it, but I am happy I'm making this video, like, after 2 weeks. Yeah, it's been like 2 weeks since it's come out. So I feel good about, like, spoiler wise, and, like, I don't know, I'm enjoying the show after kind of people have talked about it. So it feels good to experience the final 2 episodes on my own. But that being said, Vader is here, and he is here to cause chaos, and he's on my op list right now, mainly because of his actions in episode 10. Vader, we need to talk, because your actions in Obi-Wan Kenobi may, you killed Tala. I did love that. You did stab Reva in the torso. Did not love that. Tava died. Reva did not. So I felt good about that. You were good there. You did some damage this episode, and I'm sad. He's so good. I think any property Vader is in that can't mess up. I think my least favorite property that he's in is Star Wars Outlaws, which sucks because it's my favorite Star Wars game to ever come out. I've cosplayed K-Vest twice now. She's my girl. But they just cannot do him dirty, besides in that game. I do not think he needed to show up, but oh well. Yeah, his presence was so good. I mean, all you have to do is the breathing and then a little bit of the Imperial March, and then boom, you've made billions of dollars. It is amazing, like how the kids call it Aura Farm. He was doing that in this entire episode. But he really was, truly, because just his presence is so powerful. I'll talk about the fighting in a second because I don't want to go too much out of order. Maul doesn't seem to know Vader's Anakin. I need confirmation on that, and if you guys know, go down in the comments and I'll read them. But he kind of asked, "What are you?" He's like, "You're not Inquisitor. What are you?" And I thought, oh, interesting. Does he not know this is Anakin? Because again, Maul knew that Sidious was going to take on a Sith, and he knew it was going to be Anakin. But Maul doesn't know that Anakin's body was half burned because of the battle with Obi-Wan. He has no idea the battle with Obi-Wan happened and stuff. So he really doesn't have any idea. He's expecting Anakin to be how Anakin looked, just kind of more dark-sidey, which was, Palpatine's idea as well, until he found Anakin burn on Mustafar. So it's interesting. I don't know how Maul's going to find out, unless we're going to get to see Reva again, and she's going to be like, yo, Maul, yeah, that's Anakin. And then she's going to go on to Obi-Wan and be like, oh, yeah, Obi-Wan, like, that's Anakin. Like, she is just spreading the truth about Vader, that he's Anakin, and I would love that to her. I wouldn't love if that was her whole character, because she's such a good character out of that, but I do think it'd be really funny if she's like, oh yeah, from, one dark sider to another, like, yeah, that's Anakin, just so you know. But in reality, I don't know if it will be revealed. I feel like it might. I feel like in Rebels, I feel like he knows that it's Anakin. I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, Ahsoka finds out that it's Anakin in Rebels. She did not know that before. So I think a lot of people legitimately don't know that Anakin is Vader. And as a fan, sometimes we miss that, or sometimes we don't understand that, because we've known Anakin is Vader for years. So when you have a character that's like, oh, I didn't know, it's kind of like, how did you not know? It's like, oh yeah, you haven't seen, like, the prequels in Obi-Wan and Anakin's fight. Like, you don't understand that and stuff. So I felt like it was good and organic, and I feel like it was a Sam Witwer moment where probably Dave Filoni was like, oh, let's have him have a moment where he's like, oh, this is what you've become, and then Sam Witwer being probably like, no, like, Maul wouldn't really know him. It just feels like Sam Witwer would kind of point it out and be like, Maul doesn't know, that Anakin is Vader. Not a lot of people do. So that'd be an interesting question to ask him, if, like, that was always the plan, or if there was going to be to where Maul kind of was able to sense Anakin in the Vader suit. I don't know. That would be really, really interesting. Devin and Maul fighting Vader, as well as Daki, so good. That one shot where it's, I believe it's the Inquisitors that they're fighting, not Vader, but it's Devin, Daki, and Maul, and they just have that one shot where they just all stop for a second. Oh my god. One of the best shots in Star Wars animation, and best shots in Star Wars entirely. It is so good, and I've seen a lot of people talk about that, which is great, because, like, animation should be held to the same standard that we're seeing in live action, and with this show, it definitely was. I would say it was even better. Let's talk about Vader's fighting style real quick, because it is one of my favorite things. I mainly know this from Battlefront 2, because I play it all the damn time. But with Vader, he's very blocky in his fighting style. I don't exactly know the fighting style term, so I am sorry to any of you fighting style nerds. It's just very much like he kind of just puts all of his weight into it and kind of just smashes down on his opponents because of the suit. Cosplayers will know this. Vader weighs a ton, mainly because it's a lot of mechanicals, but even with this, I mean, he has this big, like, his helmet, oh my god, that's super freaking heavy, as well as kind of his chest piece, super, super heavy. He's got dark robes on that are, like, thick material. It is not thin. Kylo is kind of the same way. I always gotta mention my boy. But with him, like, the helmet is heavy, but it is a little bit of a lighter weight, as well as the robes are a little bit thinner. But with Vader, it's the exact opposite. Mainly because he has to cover all, like, the mechanical stuff. So I liked how they kept that characterized. Something that I don't like in... Shout out to all the fan, work that people do. Cannot do, ever do that. Well, that's a lie. I could. It's just a lot of work, and I, don't have really the tools to do it. And anything is better than the AI fan films that we're getting right now. Absolute trash. But what a lot of people don't understand about Vader's character is how he fights. And I've seen in a lot of those where he's moving super fast and fluid. And I'm like, no, that's not Vader. That's Anakin. So I think with Vader, you have to take into account the physicality of him. And even in Obi-Wan Kenobi, there wasn't much of that. He was moving a lot more fluid than I wanted him to. And this is about the same time for Vader as well. And I just felt like you could feel the mass on him. You could feel the weight he was carrying. And for one, that is hard to do in animation. As somewhat of an animation major, it is difficult to show something having weight in animation, because it's not real. You are drawing it, you are animating it. So for them to do that, for one, good job, team. I mean, goddamn, it was amazing to watch and beautiful. It showed Vader's character, and again, he did not have a line in this episode. And I'm like 99.9% sure of that, unless I missed it. But no, he did not have any lines in this episode, and that's so good. I think one of the things that I don't like about Outlaws, and when he shows up in that, scene, is that he talks way too much. And I love Lego Vader, if you've seen the Lego specials, where Vader is just a yapper, and I love him. He's great, but that's the Lego specials. Real Vader does not give me the vibe of being a yapper, at least this early on in the stage. Probably when we get closer to OT, I know in the comics he is a little bit of a yapper, and I can let that slide, but No, I like when he is quiet, when, like, he doesn't have to say anything to terrify you, and it works for his character. And it's really the first time we see him fight since Obi-Wan Kenobi, which I thought was cool. I missed Vader fighting. A lot of times we just see him delegate and talk. Star Wars Outlaws. But seeing him fight, seeing him really show his power and fight with a Force users, so good. So interesting. The fact that Mario was alive in this is still shocking. I know I said that a little bit, earlier ago, but like, I really thought he was going to die out of all the people that died. And I think it's almost kind of like Dave and the writers being like, ha, like, you totally thought this character was going to die. He's not. He is staying around, and honestly good. I really like Mario. If I could trade him dying off with another character, I would. But if he lives, I'm not mad about it. So I thought that was really, really funny. Vader just popping out of the wall scared the shit out of me. It was terrifying. I legitimately got jump scared, which I tend to not really do in these types of shows. So I was really happy about that. It really kind of turned up the fear factor of it. I think it was interesting, kind of Maul and Devin and Docky again. I'm really going to talk about this now because we're kind of getting to that point within the within that episode. They are fighting a common enemy, and Maul makes a good point that, his master was Darth Sidious. Literally, he knows how to defeat the Jedi. He understands how to defeat the Jedi. He doesn't understand how to defeat the Sith because you're using, the dark side or being different. In Docky's defense and in the, light side's defense is that you will never win with the dark side. You won't. And at least in a personal way, you will never truly win. Because you're selling your soul, basically. So I was like, hey, Maul's kind of popping off on these points, but at the same time, I was like, no, like, Darkseid is still not the way for them to win this. And, the writing is so good. Literally, Docky is like, look, Maul, like, the only way we could win, because they both were fighting Vader, and then Devin was fighting the two Inquisitors. The only way that we can win is by sticking together. And do you know how they lost? Well, at least Docky losing is because Maul left him. Now, do we know that if Maul stayed, they both would have survived or died? No, we legitimately don't. But Maul making that decision and Docky kind of noticing, oh my god, he left me, that left Docky to die. Legitimately. And Maul kind of pushed him into Vader. So, I do think that Maul saw the opportunity to where, okay, I myself can get myself out and Devin out. Docky is going to have to sacrifice himself, but I got to push him to do it. Devin will see him die, then turn to the dark side, which, ding, 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 is exactly what happens. It was hard to see Docky die. We knew he was going to die. It was going to happen. I was not surprised. I think the only death I was surprised by was Spybot, to be honest. I really thought he was going to live. But in all honesty, Docky dying had to happen. Because there was no way Devin was going to go to the dark side while Docky was still alive. And I do think the thing that was going to push her was Docky dying. So, from Maul's... If I was a Maul advocate, I would say he did this completely correct. Because again, he would have been then put in a position where he has to kill Docky, and then Devin's vengeance is turned on Maul, where Maul really wanted Devin's vengeance turned on Vader and the Empire, kind of with his goals as well. So we can kind of have that Padawan be kind of on the same wavelength as him. If he ended up killing Docky, and granted, if she would have seen him push him, that would have been interesting. And I do think Riley might have seen that. I don't think he did, but I feel like... No, Lawson did. That's right. Lawson noticed that, like, Maul was kind of doing that, but again, we'll talk about Lawson in a second. So yeah, he dies. Devin freaks out, dude. I was waiting for this to happen. I knew she was going to have a big freak out, and the fact that it happened like this, I think was good. I think worked for the character and for what it was the perfect turn for her. We knew it was going to happen, but it made sense. And again, it was natural. Every choice and every reaction in the show is so natural and makes sense for what the characters are going through. I really thought one of the Inquisitors was going to get stabbed and die so we could see them turn into smoke. And that could be the theory, that they're actually dead and that like they're just getting revived every time. Please, God. Doesn't seem like that's happening though, which is okay. I really did want one of them to get stabbed though. I feel like that would have been such a good little teaser for like, oh, they did turn into smoke, or oh, like what happened with that. I feel like Dave can have such fun with those characters and really doing like the Night Sister magic and stuff, especially with where they're at in Ahsoka. So you know, I wanted one of them to kind of fall, but it ended up not happening. Maul giving Devin his lightsaber, you know, for her to fight Vader is such a good representation of her turning to the dark side. Not only her screams, which, my God, are terrifying, voice actor, amazing, but it's a visual, you know, to show like, okay, no, like, and even her like little Sith eyes, and like the fact that she wanted to like continue to kill Vader and stuff, and Maul literally has to talk her down and be like, I will train you, you know, blah 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 blah. But like we have to go to live, and like he literally has to pull her away. Ugh, so good, so good, because it makes sense in that time. Like Devin turns herself over to the dark side, and all it consumes her. It legitimately does consume her. All she wants is that vengeance. So it's so good. Like just oh my God, dude. Like you guys have been on this journey with me through these 10 episodes, and like each episode kind of outclasses the next in the best way possible. Not that those episodes are kind of void now or they're not good, but it's just each new episode has such good moments where it's like, God damn, this is better than the last one. And like, I would say episode 10 is the best. Let's talk about Lawson. So I knew it was going to happen. I'm almost going to start crying. Lawson was a really, really special character to me. I think his selflessness in helping the Jedi as well as protecting his son and his best friend Two Boots was one of the most, it is the Star Wars character. It is a person trying to make their way through the galaxy and stopping to help those in need, you know, and trying to do what is right. And it was devastating. I legitimately, I'm like even getting emotional now, but it was, I mean, he sacrificed himself. Like he did the most Lawson thing he could have done, which was sacrifice himself for his son. And like immediately with the calm, like him calling Riley. I'm really gonna try not to cry. It was really special. And I think that the character really did what he needed to put Riley on a good path. And I think influenced Devin as well in a really, really interesting way, in a good way. And I really think with Riley surviving, thank God, and getting out of there, I really do think that Riley will be the saving grace and be able to turn Devin back to the light side. I really do. And I do think that's all because of Lawson. I really do. So I'm devastated. I think Lawson's death is going to stick with me for a long time. Almost, I think, worse than Tech's death. I really had to sit with that one. And I think with Lawson, this one's going to take me a bit to really go. Like, dude. I mean, I was shocked of how emotionally attached I got to this character. And I knew he was going to die. I had this feeling. I was like, there's no way. Because again, he wouldn't let Devin just go with Maul. It made sense for the story and it had to happen. And again, he died, I don't want to say doing what he loved, but, you know, he died protecting the ones that he loved most. Yeah. Yeah. So I think I'm going to have to sit with it for a bit. It was devastating though, and I loved the character so much. And like, what killed me even more was like Devin and Riley both crying. Like Riley crying, it was like my own son was like mourning the loss. It was devastating, and like Two Boots as well. Like that Robo Boy cannot even cry, and he looked devastated. He looked like basically he was crying and they were just huddled up, snuggling in a corner. And I just wanted to hug my family so bad and get him away from his frickin' mother, okay? Like, what a bitch. Like, what has she done? She left and went to the Empire while, you know, his father was trying to do as much as he could. Like, are we joking? So I'm already setting myself up to be pissed in season 2 of her being like, well, your father got himself into this mess or whatnot. And I'm like, bitch, don't even smack talk him right now because you could not even do what he did. Okay, I'm good. I'm trying not to get too mad about what might happen in season 2. But yeah, that character meant a lot to me. So it's going to be a bit, but we're good. We're good. We're good. We are good. Yeah. So how that episode ended with Devin being I'm ready, you know, and Maul kind of, you know, nodding, it's really setting us up for season 2 in the best way possible. Now, what are my theories for season 2? I'm going to be a little quick with this because I believe this episode has, it's gone on a little bit. What are my thoughts? Like, I would like a time jump, even if it's just a little time jump. I would really appreciate that. I don't think it would be best to start off immediately, even if it's just like a month time jump or something, just to show like Maul is still training Devin. Riley is kind of just hanging out with Maul and Two Boots, you know, and stuff, and kind of just there. Vario is still there. I'm interested to see because really all we have a part of Maul's OG group is Riley, Two Boots, Vario, and Devin. That is literally all we have right now. So I am interested to see if I don't think Maul is going to have any more Mandalorians. I think that was kind of it for him, unfortunately. That kind of kept with him from the Siege of Mandalore, which really sucks because Maul and Mandalorians are so good. I do think he might go and find more Zabraks. I think that might be a possibility. He can't really go to Dathomir because I believe it's been purged at this point. It'd be interesting if he did, though, and got to see, like, the aftermath and got to see, like, his mother. Well, I mean, he knows that the Great Mother is dead because Palpatine killed her, but it would be interesting, you know, for his sisters to see them, you know, kind of dead. And, I mean, Morgan Elizabeth is still alive, but you know what I mean. I would love to see more Night Sister magic. I think it ties in with Maul super well, and I think they should really kind of touch on that in a good way. But I really do think that Riley is going to be the only one that can talk her down from vengeance. I really believe that. I truly do. I don't think she's going to... I think she'll turn to the dark side, but I don't think she's going to go down a path she can't escape. I do think she will turn, and I think we might see like Force Ghost Daki. I really do. In a way, like his sacrifice was noble, you know, and he didn't run away, you know, and try to get away. He really took the death in stride, and I think he knew that, and I think he knew that his death would keep Devin safe. I do believe that. I don't think his plan was to die, but I do think he knows that it's the will of the Force, and that what had to be done was done. So, am I disappointed? Yeah. Do I think we might see him again? I think so. I love the voice actor. Amazing. His voice is chef's kiss. So I'm really hoping we get to see a Force ghost in something. I'm trying to be like, look at what you've become, you know, and Daki kind of being like, dude, what the hell? Like, you're a Jedi, you're not a Sith. Like, don't avenge me, like, avenge yourself. So I think those are my theories. I think I need to sit with the show a little bit more to really get a scope on what it is. I'm very happy they're doing a season 2. I was nervous when, like, kind of, I think the weeks coming up to this show releasing, people were like, is it just a limited series? Like, that's really disappointing. Like, I feel like with Star Wars animation, it tends to always be a limited series. The last full main series we had was Bad Batch. And I love the Tales of series, don't get me wrong, but I do think those are not my favorite. There are only 6 episodes and 3 are dedicated to one character. My favorite is still Morgan Elizabeth, and like those only count if like they're characters you care about. Again, I don't think the one was Barriss, but like Tales of the Jedi, I liked Ahsoka. I thought that was good. We love Ahsoka. Dooku's was amazing. Tales of the Empire. See, that I got excited about because I was like, ooh, we could get a Rey Salone story. No, we could not because Dave Filoni only focuses on the prequels. I love you, Dave. No hate. But the Morgan Elizabeth story, loved it. Tales of the Underworld, I think there was no, it was a Cad Bane story. We didn't even get a Fennec Shang story, which is, boy, what the hell. So it only benefits you if it's really a character that you full on care about. I would still like to do a series on it legitimately, but yeah, so I'm not a big fan of those. So having a legit series that I can watch in full, 10 episodes, thank God, and then be excited for a season 2, like, yay, something got renewed. I don't know how long it's going to be. Ahsoka season 2 is going to be early 2027. I believe that was because of the writer strikes. There was the Josh DeMuro kind of changeover with CEO. They had to get things, you know, pushed through. Dave Filoni, you know, became head of Lucasfilm after Kathleen Kennedy. So I think there were a lot of changes that probably just set it on the back burner. I don't mind this. I would like Mando and Grogu to happen first. I don't know if Mando and Grogu is going to be much into Ahsoka. I kind of talked about that in my Mando and Grogu review, but I do get to see it tomorrow, so very excited. But in all reality, I think Ahsoka season 2 will happen first, and then I do think we will get Maul end of 2027. And then I think we'll get the trailer probably around Star Wars Celebration, which, if y'all don't know, I got tickets. I'm very excited. I will be there Friday and Saturday. I love my people. I'm very happy. I have not been to a Star Wars Celebration since 2022, which was here in Anaheim. It was the first one after COVID. This one is in LA, so unfortunately not my fave Anaheim Convention Center, mainly because it was booked up. But I'm excited to go to the LA Convention Center and get to see all my Kylix peeps and everyone out there and chilling. So I'm super excited. But that is going to be all the time we have for today. I yapped y'all's ears off. I'm sorry, but this was... I had a lot of thoughts about this one, and it was so good, y'all. Like, it's not like I'm shocked. It's not shocking that a Star Wars project is good. It never is, but there are times when truly they go above and beyond, and I could just not ask for a better team to be heading Star Wars Animation and Lucasfilm. So anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts about the final 2 episodes, and video on Mando and Grogu should be coming out this weekend. I'm going to try to get it out, so we'll have 2 videos back to back, but wanted to do this one first. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.